Hello, hello, hello. That's one of my favorite songs. And now, Hello, Black Man is one of my favorite websites. See, I know y'all thought I was about to say something funny, but for once in my life, I want to say something important. I want to tell you a little bit about Hello, Black Man, created by Jamie Jenkins. Hello, Black Man is an everyday journal for the black man. But if you're not a man, he has an everyday journal for the black woman and the black child. It's just an opportunity for us to express ourselves, to communicate. You know, there's nothing wrong with writing your feelings down. Sometimes you don't feel like expressing everything to somebody, so you want to write it down, and then someday you're going to manifest it. And that's all Hello Black Man is. So if you go to that website, Hello Black Man, you'll see some journals, you'll see some apparel. This isn't a joke. Go get those journals if you're a black man, if you're a black woman, if you're a black child. Even if you're white and you just want to get the journal and write in it. Nobody's going to judge you for writing in a journal that says something about black people, okay? You can be trans black. How about that? Just go to this amazing website, Hello Black Man. I promise you won't regret it. Hello, hello, hello. I'm Rita Brent.
Guys, we're here tonight with Tyler Chronicles. He has been doing Shmoga. I love it! But in order for us to know how it has been affecting him, we're going to ask him a question from the Hello Black Man Journal. This is our favorite question, Tyler. Hello, Black Tyler. What motivates you?
My family, my inner circle, and just success. I just want to be successful, and success is different with everybody. My version of success is doing what I love to do every single day and being able to live off of that. Everything else is icing.
I'm glad you said what success means to you, because success means something different to everybody.
Had to let them know.
Tell me, what is your idea of success? Ideal of success.
Only after you tell me what your idea is of one question, because you said.
I know, but
no, I'm fucking with you. My idea of success. I think I said it already too, though. But
yeah, you did. I mean, tell me, what does it look like to Tyler?
To me, it's making people laugh, changing people's moods. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm a mood changer. I feel like I've been put on this earth to change people's day. Before I get on the stage, every time I say, God help me to make someone laugh hard enough to forget about their bad day or their bad week. That's all I want to do.
Big.
Hello, black man. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We're in the building tonight, and we got a good topic. We seem to get a lot of feedback, and we seem to get a lot of comments. And so, come on in the room if you're here. If you would, let's get some shares and some tags, and let's get some people in the building. And now we're going to talk a little bit about marriage tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about marriage tonight, and hopefully you've had a good week. Hopefully you're not too knocked out and dragged out for the week, man. So we want to get you in the building, and we want to get your opinion and get your feedback on some stuff, right? So that's where we are. If you would, hold tight, and we'll get ready to get started.
I was waiting for you to introduce me. I was waiting for you to say something. Feedback is still terrible.
No, man. I can get my headphones.
Don't worry about it. Just mute your phone when I'm talking. All right. So last night you came with the heat. You brought it. You was just like, hey, back to back. So of course I had to make my own questions, aka rewrite the questions that you wrote. So I have some questions for you before we get started talking about the marriage thing. And my first question is, why do you think people talk to me about you?
Because I'm very, I guess I'm very deliberate on what happens next, right? So if I get information, if I get some type of feedback, or I'm thinking you get it from someone or somewhere you should be, then you're probably going to be the casualty, right? So if you bring me a bone, then it's more than likely I probably won't talk to you anymore this life. I guess that's kind of the way I am. And people have probably seen that happen to other people, and they say, you know what, I'll go another route. I want to make sure he gets his information, or make sure it kind of gets to him, but I don't want to be the bearer of this news. So I think that may be it. Or I don't know. You tell me. You get the information. I think that's what happens. I think people would they're choosing the safer route to get to me, if that makes sense.
Are you saying it's kind of like saying somebody told me? When you say somebody told me, there's a place of loyalty. Or is the somebody a loyal place for the somebody, or a place for the person who's telling you, or who you're telling the somebody to? So like what are you saying? Like how does that equate to you? Do you feel like when you say, "Hey, somebody told me," are you being more loyal to the person who told you, or more loyal to the person who you're telling that somebody told you?
Well, I guess that's debatable. I can't say what's going to be every single time, because if I'm getting it from someone that truly has my best interest at heart, and they just don't want to be recognized, or don't want to be put into something, then that could be the case sometimes. But you're if if the person telling me, uh, if they don't have a valid reason for telling me who told them, then it's probably best I don't communicate with that person either. You know, so like I said, there's a percentage of times where, hey, this is why somebody, I don't want to put that person into this. I know you better trust me. I'm going to give you some information. So there's a percentage there, but for me, the easy thing for me to do is just cut everybody out. I'm done with everybody. No problem.
And that's where we differ in opinion, because like if somebody tells me, then that somebody is already safe because they know that they can repeat what they said, or the person who's telling me know that they can tell me who this person is because they know that I can go back to this person and say, hey, why did you say this? Or what happened, what made you say this? So like that trust in a circle is very important. So whenever I come and say, hey, somebody told me something, or I try not to ever say somebody. I'm gonna be like, hey, this came from this person, this came from this place, because I know that that person is somebody I can trust, and you're somebody I can trust. So like that's just something that's very valuable to me.
Right.
Having a
But
close knit circle.
but with me, you know, there's a 99.9% chance I'm not going back to that person. Like some people will. Like some people will leave that conversation and get back into, hey, this is what somebody told me that you say this, and that happens. But like with me, like I'm not. Like, so I trust what you're bringing. I trust it. I trust it, obviously, with my life.
What's the last sunset you've seen?
Probably, I guess really enjoying this, relaxing. I can't remember. I literally can't. Like, I've been driving a few times and the sun, was going down, but I hadn't taken time out to like sit on the bench and just let the full sun set. I probably can't remember. Put it on my list of things to do.
Name something you want to fail at.
Oh man. Um, I want to get truly 9 to 5 free, and I think I have the tools, and I think I have the right person in my life that would allow me that space to operate in. Uh, and I guess what I do, manage people, manage processes, it is tiresome. It is something that takes a lot out of a person, for the amount of years I've been doing it. So at the end of the day, I want to become truly dependent on me, truly dependent on what I get up and can get accomplished, who I can contact in the day. And when you have a 9 to 5, you know, I don't care how great it is. It takes energy away. It takes time away. It takes resources away. I mean, because I could be doing XYZ. So for those people that do entrepreneur and 9 to 5, like it's a tricky balance. Especially if you're trying to be successful at both. Now, if you on your job is 8 to 8, you ain't trying to do too much, then maybe so. But it's hard for me to carry that bone. I try to give all, do all, in or outlay. It is kind of who I am. I've been maybe programmed to do that. But when it comes to me and my business, normally that's what suffers because my time and my energy has been exhausted, and I end up putting a smaller percent into me at the end of the day. So, entrepreneurship, I want to feel at it.
What relaxes you?
Um, if we're talking about like sports and stuff like that, um, some shows, I can kind of get lost in the moment, lost in the reality of that. Um, I love the game of basketball. I still feel I can contribute, play a little bit. So basketball relaxes me, and then the group of guys I play basketball with, we kind of have a good bond. Most of these guys I've been playing basketball with for 20 years. Literally the guys I play, we've never been a real fight. You know what I mean? It's a bunch of arguing. The older we get, a little less arguing because we be tired. Uh, but but a good bond there. I would say, spades, basketball, spades, those two things, in the right setting. I think I'm in my element, in my element. I think I'm more socially awkward than perceived, but it kind of comes and goes. So just going out doing stuff that doesn't calm me. I'm not necessarily in my element. Normally, it's around a certain crowd that I'm used to and can really be myself around. That kind of relaxes me.
What do you feel I waste money on?
Um, Honestly, like I said, beyond food, beyond just buying food here or there, and then when you buy food, you don't buy a meal. You know, that's not what you do. You buy stuff, and then people hate to bring it to us because it's 7 meals, it's 7 adult meals. Maybe the phone is shaking because your face is kind of frowning up as I'm speaking. I don't know what's going on there. But you usually order 3 or 4 different things. You might order steak, a potato, you might order nachos, you might order this and the other. But we all eat it. It gets ate. But beyond that, you don't have any extravagant spending habits. Uh, like literally, I can't count the number of times you've gotten clothes or something like that. Like rarely a few pieces here. Shoes, rarely stuff like that. Um, the only thing I would, I guess, encourage is like being super uh, aggressive on some of the bottom line debt that we have, and I think recently you've really taken on a role of ownership when you talk about like eliminating debt by a certain date. So once you get your mindset and schedules in place, you know, I think we're good there. I'm not a huge as far as managing money. I couldn't say I've been great at it myself.
So I don't have shoes and clothes. You just told the people that, but that's okay. I
You
got it.
don't buy a lot of stuff like that. Like I didn't say you didn't have it, but like some women and some guys, they go to the mall every 2 days buying shoes. Gotta have the next Jordans out. Gotta have the next this out. Like you don't have that that fetish like that. If we have something to do, have somewhere to go, um, I think you know the route to take. Like hey, this is a one-time event. Why would I go spend $300 for some shoes I'm gonna have on 45 minutes? And I think that's very smart. Whereas some people are like, oh, I got an event, I'm gonna spend $1,100. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Me, no, not so much.
Well, you have dirt cheap to thank for that because I was an employee there for 4 plus years. I am a frugal junkie, so you have that to thank for that. Um, so I want to just, just a few things before we get into the meat and potatoes of this conversation. You like spicy chicken, but don't like spicy food. That was a almost a deal breaker for me. And you don't eat the skin on the chicken. Like those two things drive me nuts. How do you like spicy chicken and don't like spicy food? Like I got you original chicken one day and you died. Like what's up with it?
Being a crack fanatic, a crack chicken fanatic. Back from the day was when my mama still worked there. That's literally the only chicken we would get. Like when me and Melvin would leave Alcorn, we would stop in Crystal Springs and get chicken, and what I'm saying, and partake from that standpoint. So spicy chicken has just been a staple for me. Now, as far as spicy foods, like I've never had to have the hottest anything. And then normally the things that go along with spicy food, like jalapenos or peppers and stuff like that, I don't like the texture of those things. So um, I just would prefer, they're not, bell peppers and stuff like that. I'm not gonna eat that stuff. Like I'm not. But chicken, I'm good with. Most other stuff, I can pass on that.
All right, so we can get into some of the things that people have asked us about. Today, you told the people that we were going to talk about marriage. We have marriage, fetishes, in laws, empty nesting. Is love still there? Loving people while they're here. Um, we have a lot of things. Something that I didn't talk about last night that I spend money on is probably, I'm not going to say. Y'all gonna have to subscribe to our Patreon to get the special stuff. Y'all gonna have to because we use the Patreon money to supply the needs of the company to give away scholarships, give away books. So if y'all want to know the spicy stuff, y'all gotta go over to the Patreon. If you need the Patreon link, let us know because that's what we tell all our businesses because we want to make sure that we're giving the people what they are asking for, and we want to make sure that the people are getting what they need, and children need scholarships. People need these journals. Before we get into marriage, I want to ask you one last thing. How do you feel about male birth control? This is a conversation we've had, but now there's like a pill that people can take to that men can take. So, how do you feel about male birth control? You for it? You against it? What you think?
I am not anti or pro male birth control. So I think mentally, uh, there's a stigma when you're talking about getting a vasectomy, right? I think there's a stigma there. Not saying it is true, not saying it is, anything like that. Of course, I had been a high surgery prone guy. One surgery my whole life. Well, two, I got some stitches one time. But other than that, not really. The responsibility behind it, I think, should be shared. Of birthing children or the lack of children being born. I do think men should play a larger role in that. So there's pills out there. Sure, shoot me the pills, no problem. You talk about getting a vasectomy. I probably am a little more apprehensive. You know, if you got something that would, knock me out and, drug me and take me in there, then I wouldn't, wouldn't be the end of the world. But just the nervousness behind it all. And then like, there are, of course, I'm in some fathers groups and stuff like that. And a lot of those guys like like, yes, best decision of my life. Super easy, super quick, not what you think and stuff like that. But that's, you know, that's where it comes down to, being an individual. Like, what do you think? Like me, tattoos, no problem. Dentist, I'm shaking. I'm frightened to even go to the dentist. But tattoo, go ahead. Hour, 2 hours, no problem. So yes, I would take birth control pills. You gonna put me on the pill?
Yeah, I'm gonna put you on a pill ASAP. I have an IUD. Is up in 5 years. 5 years, you on the pill. Get ready. Um, what is your pet peeve?
Pet peeve. What is a pet peeve? Like what do I do that pet peeve? Hold on, let me look up pet peeve. My pet peeve. What is my pet peeve? Pet peeve meaning. Hold on, me.
Wow, mute your phone while you figure out what pet peeve means. While you're doing pet, Willie D is in the comments. You're not gonna believe this. You're not gonna believe Willie D Myers is in the comment. The third, everything. Willie D, do you know him or do you know him? Breathing is his pet peeve. Why are you breathing? I'm here for it, Willie D. Come on with it. Jamie, have you figured out what pet peeve means? But why he's in the comments?
Man, where Willie D come from, man? Hello, somebody. Man, Willie D is crazy. It is something that a particular person finds especially annoying. It really depends on my mood. It really depends on if I've had sleep or, if we've had a good day, literally anything could annoy me. And I think you know that all too well. It's so funny because when D said it, like I said, so a lot of things that don't get on my nerves one day, the next day they could. If I'm tapped out on people, I could be talking to people, today, great relationship, just talking, da 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 da, and tomorrow I'm like, don't talk to me. Like, I don't want to speak. We're still on good terms, but today just don't talk to me. Like, don't talk to me at all. And when I see you again, we can start back talking if I, have that, if I'm ready there. So I don't have any one thing uh, that annoys me. Lying for no reason, like when you don't have to, like when you could really be straight up for whatever reason, like that may be something. Or if you need something from me and you wait, and then when you ask me, I'm be like, now you needed that a month ago or a week ago. You're not gonna get it. Don't. I'm not even worried about it. You obviously not worried about it, so I'm not gonna be worried about it either. So stuff like that. That come from mostly kids.
I saw a post today that said, lying for no reason awakens the hell in me. So before we get into the marriage thing, because I know that's what everybody's waiting for, do you consider withholding information lying?
It depends on the purpose of it, right? If I'm withholding information and I think it brings no value to the conversation, or it's not going to be anything that we can build on, then no, I don't. Because we haven't crossed that bridge or you hadn't asked me a certain question, because it's almost guaranteed that at any point in time I am withholding something. Like it's something we hadn't talked about. It's something we hadn't went over. And then when that moment gets there, then it's time for me to say, okay, let me explain this to you. And you know, it it's always more information out there. Like it's always a story from 2012 that there's no reason for me to think of it right now until we get in a certain position or a certain predicament or something like that. Now, if you're withholding information that is pertinent or that is value added, then yes.
All right, bet. It's on you. Open up your big topic for tonight.
No, well, I tell you what, we got a lot of questions, and I'm pulling it up here. Like some of the questions, I did I did a story, one of my stories, and let me see if I can view my story. And oh, hold on.
While he's looking for the story, I will tell y'all about my day. Um, it's been eventful. Y'all make sure y'all follow my Kalisha Patrice. No, it's Kalisha Patrice. No, it's Kalisha PH on Instagram. I have my children's sister here, and she is funny and she is a handful. And you guys make sure you go on there. I am really epitomizing bonus family. I hear her now. I feel like she's coming up here. I'm scared. I'm nervous. I'm shaking. She is so much fun. Like, we don't have any kids here. Jacoby's 7. He's full of life, full of energy. But last night I had some things I wanted to tell Jamie about spending money on. I spend money on alcohol. That's my other thing that I spend probably more on than I need to. Like we should have a bar, literally, with the money that I spend on alcohol. But the bar is in progress. Based on, just but me and Rhonda, Lachelle, whatever she got, Rashida, we are in the process. And also, look, we have some videos of our kids because I saw that little no, his name's not Little Wayne. His name is Country Wayne. Today he said that he built his business off not only himself but his kids. So we asked our kids to do videos. So we have videos here that I'm going to share with you guys that our kids did. We're going to do one at a time. You're going to have to catch these videos in progression. Like today, we're going to do the sons, one son at a time. Y'all got to judge these videos and tell us who won this competition of who does the best video. So I'm going to start first off with one of the sons. Let me see if I can find his video. Here we go. Y'all ready? One, two, three.
Hey guys, I want to talk to you about this Hello Black Man journal. It's really probably one of the best investments I've ever had in my entire life. It's like every day you can write in it, there's multiple questions that you can answer from it, and there's just there's just something special about it that just makes it so good. And I want you guys to buy it too so you have a better relationship with your kids and you can release some stress. You had a bad day at work, coming home from school, just writing a book. That's all you gotta do. And you can get it from helloblackman.com. And that's not all that it sells. It sells this is a Hello Black child, Hello Black teen, and then Hello Black man, Hello Black woman. We have shirts, bracelets, pins, and etc. So go get you a book right now.
That was son number 2. of the group, and he out here representing. Y'all make sure y'all go to our Hello Black Child because he actually did the artwork on the cover. He forgot to mention that, but he is a part of this, and we love and appreciate him for who he is. All right, you ready for whatever you got? The questions.
Yeah, I got some of the questions pulled up. We have a lot. We can't cover them all. So I'm kind of going through them, and like I said, you can see the questions there. People are asking questions in the comments. Like I said, you can kind of stop me whenever. The myths versus the reality of marriage, right? We can start there. Uh, Fairy tale is we get married, it's happily ever after. That's fairy tale because you don't, you know what you know of a person at that point, up to that point, and you are projecting what that person is going to be like for the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20, 25. You're projecting that. That person is their own being, right? And so you don't necessarily know who that person is going to grow into. Now, you may see some traits starting out, and you may say, hey, this is something I can deal with. Or you may say, hey, this is something that I need to watch. And oftentimes, what happens is, as people grow, they may grow apart. And that's where they're not connecting, on a daily, on certain topics, not having certain discussions, and they continue to grow in their straight line. And it just so happened to be further and further away from each other. So the reality of marriage is it is a true partnership if uh, if if it's going to work. It's a true partnership legally. From a legality standpoint, you're tying things together that aren't necessarily tied together if you're not legally married. But just about everything that you do that when you sign papers to be married, you can do with the power of attorney. So, you have the myth as in, hey, we're signing papers, we're happily ever after. I love you, you love me, we're going to love each other forever. But time happens and change happens. So, that's Tony Massey with the comment, the myths versus the reality. I would say that the Cosby Show definitely can be. I'm not gonna say the blame, but it definitely portrays marriage without a lot of the daily grind that happens with it. What you got, baby? Yeah, it's really a business plan. Like, what's more business than this, or what are you willing to risk? We talked. I saw you come in today about prenuptials and stuff like that. Um, a lot of times that's on the table. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes, men or women are afraid to say, hey, we're getting into something. What I have or what I'm working toward is much more valuable than what you bring to the table right now. So if we don't work out, then we're going to split it this way and we'll be done with it. But when you are mentally not thinking about uh, all possibilities, then a lot of that stuff never, you don't have those conversations.
So I watched a podcast today about the change in structure of relationships and men being afraid to approach women and women being hesitant about doing anything for men or I was raised in a different generation, so I can't relate. Like if I see something I want, I'm going after it. I'm like, oh, thank you. All right. So I don't have that fear. But when we talk about today's marriage arrangement and today what's going on as far as marriage, a lot of us in the generation that we are in have been married, have been divorced, have done lots of different things. So like we're like, okay, so what's the goal? What's really the goal today versus what was the goal when we were growing up? What was the goal when our parents were kids? And how do we inflect that, or how do we relay that to our children? I have no problem with marriage. I support and I am a advocate for it if that's what you want to do. But it's not something that you have to do. Like I solely believe that it's not something you have to do. As far as what Louisa said, it's a business plan. Like how are we going to support each other? What are we going to do to make this work? And that doesn't have to happen in a marriage arrangement because the way the world works, legally, you and I could do all the things that we could do married that we could do outside of a marriage. Is that why we choose not to get married? We can't say. You're gonna have to follow us on Patreon to figure out when or what marriage arrangements may or may not be. You gotta support the brand because we're trying to give out books, we're trying to give out scholarships. But as far as my decision or what we are deciding on or what's going forth, like I've been married, he's been married. We know that marriage is not the end goal as far as society goes. Because if marriage was the end goal, we'd still be married, right? If that was what we were here for in life, if that was our purpose, then once you got married, that would be where you are. That would be what you're doing. But since that's not where we are, we're trying to figure it out. And we're living in the moment and we're taking day by day and we're trying to assure that what we are securing is secure because a lot of times when you're just out here for people and for what the people feel is the purpose, it doesn't go over well. If we're living by societal goals, we're trying to hurry up and get married, but we're not. We're trying to make sure that this is exactly what we're here for. This is exactly what we want. This is our end goal. This is our relationship to the end of time. So, I can't say much more than that. I love where I am. I love living in the moment and we do what we do.
Sometimes what marriage is a portrayal. Like she talked about the Cosby Show, right? The Cosby Show portrayed marriage in a certain light, right? A depiction of someone or something in a work of art or literature, a painting, a portrait, a sketch, a representation, a depiction, a rendering, an artist's impression. So a lot of times we're looking at the thought of marriage or the ceremonial part of marriage, and you feel like, I know what it should look like. You know what I'm saying? But where we are, we're not necessarily keyed on the portrayal. We are keyed on the person, right? When you find your person, a lot of these things, it's not valued the same way. It doesn't have the same value because we're not, um, I guess we don't give it the same validation what people are rendering on our relationship, what people are how they're characterizing it, because somebody somewhere got a very uh, they have their own opinion on what we are and what we're doing and why we're doing this and why we're not doing it. But when you have your person, a lot of that doesn't matter at all. I see you got a comment.
Yeah, I was just gonna say let's stop for a second and talk about a cure because something that I don't realize about you is you had a lot of your household growth in a two-parent home. Regardless of what the situation was, you grew up in a two-parent home as well as I did. There was a point where I think both of our parents separated. Both of our parents were in an abusive relationship. Yours not lasting, mine's lasting. It's just like what we see when we grow up I think is very important because a lot of us kind of make that what we do, and some of us make it what we don't want to do. And I think that you and I both realize that what we saw is not what we wanted. And my parents are still married, still toxic. I love them with everything that I am. They're probably watching because they tell me every day that they saw the broadcast. But they were very toxic. They were very, and still are, not just then. They are very, argumentative. They're very back and forth at each other. But when you don't know any better, you don't do any better. And I think that my parents were in a situation where they didn't know any better. So, yes, they shielded us from a lot of business, but my parents didn't. My parents had companies, so I saw a lot of what they did, and I saw a lot of the arguments, and I saw a lot of the frustration between them. And what I realized in my later life when I was dealing with him is this is not what I want. I want to make sure that when I find a partner, he knows that not only do I love him, but I support him. And whatever we go through, whether it be big, small, little, minute, we're going to work through it. And we're going to be sure that it's something that we can work through. And if we can't work through it, then we need to figure out what the problem is. We're going to attack the problem, not the person. So that's where I am in life, and that's how I feel. We miss you too, T.
Mindy,
Over there babysitting and stuff.
how the baby look like T? How do the baby look like T?
That's what grandparentization looks like. I never want to be a part of that. I don't want to be a grandparent, but it is what it is.
Okay, so Kanoa Brown, everybody, people know Kanoa. Your eyes okay? Your neck, your back, your back. Kanoa Brown said, "Why do married couples preach oneness until it's time to have joint bank accounts?"
Before we address Kanoa, we're going to address the people who are important to us. Those are the people who are on the live. Tosin says marriage doesn't matter as long as assets and resources are separate. That's like totally in connection to what Kanoa said. Realistically, it's just like any business partnership. It is. It very much so is. However, I think that the reason why we as a people feel like marriage is a business partnership is because we have not really experienced love on the level that there needs to be experienced. I don't know where me and Jamie will end. I don't know. But we have came to the conclusion that we're going to enjoy day by day. We're not going to worry about this and that and the little things. We're going to make sure that we're appreciating and loving one another. And I think that's the big goal. That's the picture. Like making sure that what we do in the moment is more important than what we do momentally. And when you realize that you cannot predict what tomorrow is going to bring, you appreciate today so much more. So that's my opinion on the business partnership side of things.
Now, I guess in our case, we don't have. I guess it's kind of like separate but equal, right? Because I've never been in a position where I felt like me asking about anything financially would be even questioned. Like if I said, "Hey, babe, I got something going on. I need $100," you're gonna send $200. Like that's what you're gonna do. Like it's no question. So if I need something, I'm gonna tell you significantly lower than what I need because I know you're gonna overdo it. Like you want it now, you want cash, I cash app you, then I see you want this and the other. I'm like, I just need $50. I just need $50 cash. Okay, you got 100 in your wallet, you got 100 on cash app. Like I didn't ask you for that. That's not what I asked you for. But that's normally what you do. But as far as my banking information, you have all of that. Like there's nothing that I check. You cash out people today. I didn't get the notification. Uh, People got money. I'm not sure how I'm not getting a notification, but it's okay.
We have a business, babe, that we run in together. So the business kind of, supersedes everything else. So like if we're doing something from the business, I have make sure that the business is equally like it's 50 from you, 50 from me. Like we do this together.
But when people talk about having exit, as long as the access is not denied under any circumstances. So if we are having a disagreement about something, That doesn't mean you don't have access to funds or you don't have access to, anything you need to get in the business done. Um, I think that financially we're getting to a place to where we know what it takes to make things grow, right? And so we're very conscious of spending and spending habits and stuff like that. Gratefully, neither one of us are super materialistic, you know. So and I think being materialistic is one of those things that surprise a lot of married people. And it's something that may not be seen when you have separate bank accounts, when you have separate, when you really living separately financially. But when you get together and you see this person is eating out, 28 days, two times or three times a day, and you see how much money it is spending, then where's the responsibility? Like, where does responsibility lie? Are you responsible for feeding that person? Are you responsible for, making sure your funds are there for these habits? And vice versa, no matter what it is, if it's clothes, if it's food, if it's, if you like to work on cars and motorcycles or whatever it may be, if you like to go out of town, if it's gambling. If I like to gamble, then, separately, you don't know how much I'm spending on gambling. But once those accounts go together, every dime that's moving toward my habits. And I think that's where the conversation is not had prior to signing legal papers saying, hey, we're going to be taking care of each other. Like I said, I don't think we have anything that is, astronomical that we can't work through. You buy a lot of glasses and little stuff like that, but that's not anything, man. We girl, put all them goddamn glasses down.
So, gambling, when we talk about balance, there has to be somebody that takes risk. You are that person. You are that person. I'm not a risk taker. When we go to the boat, I'm like, $5 in. Oh crap, I won 505. Withdraw. So, like, you are most certainly someone who definitely gambles, and I don't stand in the way of that because I do have my own finances. Somebody today said earlier, why do I try to be grammatically correct? Why do people talk about balance and equality until it comes to bank accounts? We talk about all of that, including bank accounts. Willie said, Will said, I'm sorry, what I mean by business partnership is trust. If I trust you, I love you. And that's facts, Willie D. Trust equates love to me. If you are able to talk to me about things that are valuable to you, things that you things that you are 100% invested in, those are things that you really need to value. Mute your phone back because you have an echo. T says, we pay all the bills out of the joint account, and we have an account where extra money may come in, but we both look out for each other. But we don't want, but I don't want her to feel like she have to ask me before she can buy something or anything. Very, very much the same. We don't have that technicalities on each other. He don't tell me that my Shein cart is over the budget. I do what I want to do with my Shein cart. We buy for each other. We do for each other. I'll do for the kids. He does for the kids. Like, we have such a great relationship when it comes to finances because we've already pre-communicated that. We know what we want. We know what we're looking for, and we're working on a joint account per se. We haven't gotten there yet, but like marriage doesn't have to equate that. It's communication. And I'm gonna tell you something I saw today. I didn't get a chance to upload it. It's not about communication, it's about comprehension. And that is very important because if you're talking to me and I'm not comprehending what you say, then it doesn't mean anything. There's no value to that. Same as you. If I'm saying, babe, you seem to have a lot of information on this, and you're thinking, she thinks that I know something. It's not the same thing. So, you've got to be able to respectfully communicate in the same space in order to know what one another wants and what one another is equating. Do we know where we're going to be in 20 years? No, we don't. But we will come back to you with a YouTube and let you know. But as of right now, we're trying to work through this and we're trying to figure it out because we want people out there who are working through these things to know that it's not easy. We're not perfect. We're not out here trying to equate perfection. We're just letting you know that communication is what you need to get to the next step, what you need to make sure that marriage is something that you are trying to get to. Is marriage something we're trying to get to? We still working it out. We don't know. We don't know where we are. Like, I don't know. All right, what's your next question, babe?
Shante, K Shante says, how long should you date before you entertain the thought? Is there a time limit or not? So time limits are normally biological clocks, or and there's societal pressure as time progresses, because it is the natural progression or step in Christian background, Christian homes. So, you're together, you date, have a couple of kids, y'all do this, y'all do that, you get married. Like, it's just what's supposed to happen, right? And I think that a lot of people get married based on time. Hey, we've been together so long, we're not improving each other, we're not building each other, we're not growing each other, we're not working on each other's business, we're not doing any of those things. I don't know you in the building, I knew you 5 years ago, but we've been together for 5 years. We supposed to get married, and that happens. And uh, sometimes it works. Sometimes you figure out who you've married well into the marriage, and that happens also. So I don't think there is a time. Now, if it is something that needs to be discussed as time progresses, because why? People change. Because why? Thought processes change. So 5 years ago, never on your mind, never a thought. 4 years ago, possibility. 2 years ago, there are things you want to see. It may be a goal that it comes closer as you come closer to the person. You really know who that person is, and it may be the next step on progression from that direction. So I wouldn't say that, hey, after 2 years you did another. Now, this marriage is very personal. That's why the societal pressure can't be the reason you get married. Societal pressure cannot. Because some women, some men say, "Hey, I've been with you X amount of years." Man, what is wrong with the T? X, I've been with you X amount of years. If you haven't proposed in this amount of time, then I'm going to find somebody that does. I think that is crazy. I really do, because you're with somebody that loves you and cares for you and does. You have all the trust and financial things, and because you're not married, you say, "Hey, I'm going to find somebody to marry me," and you don't have that 90% with the person that you're marrying, but they're willing to ask the question. They may need somewhere to stay. They may see you as someone that is stable for them, and you may not actually be. They may not be actually be stable for you.
This is a pause sign. I'm sorry. What? What are you talking about? I'm sorry. So let me ask you a question based on what you said. If your ex is somewhere and she's so unstable that she cannot see because she has intoxicated, does she come here to stay? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that as long as I'm
I am not.
okay. Okay. Okay.
You got a two-part question? Come on with it.
I don't. Go ahead. Continue.
Okay, yeah. So don't allow society to pressure you into anything that is going to be a legal matter. a personal legal matter. Society shouldn't be what pushes you to do this. It has to do more with how one is raised, pressure on marry me. Yes, definitely. Like I said, definitely. If you're from that background, then that's the route you take.
Is that
Then
your background?
is my background marriage. A lot of failed marriages for sure. But no one told me, hey, at a certain time you need to get married. My mom never told me that. My dad never told me nothing like that. But I'm from a Christian background, so it has been the progressive step that we take in our community. So after you together so long, you get married. When you gonna marry the girl, X1? Look, you see what I'm talking about? That's family right there. Yeah. So that's
So,
been
but fail based on what? And that's the problem that we don't address. And that's the communication that we don't have. Why was your marriage a failed marriage? My parents have been together for 40, almost 1 years. That does not mean that their marriage has been perfect. That does not mean that they have had a cohesive bond the entire time. And I think we, the next generation of children, don't understand that. Like, you don't have to stay married in that situation if you're not living a life that is so cohesive to what you love, what you want, what you need. But you also can't switch every time you see something that is better, every time that you think that something is better, because better doesn't always mean what you think it means. The grass is not always greener on the other side. So, like, cultivating and motivating and pushing people to where you want or need them to be doesn't mean that they will get there, but it means that you are in the right place. So, like, with us, like, we're not perfect, and we say that a million times. We have issues. We talk, we fuss, we discuss things, but I'm sorry, did you do something with your eyes? Because I was looking at your eyes. But we know that there is growth within us. So, like, how do you find the person? How do you know that this is who you want to motivate? This is who you want to encourage. This is what you want to be with. Like, in your opinion, how do you find that?
when you find a person that you want to fix as bad as they want to fix you. When you find a person that you're willing to accept flaws and see where that person acknowledges the flaw and says, hey, I do have a deficit here. I do have an issue here. I want to get better at it. And the person you're with also said the same thing. I noticed that. I recognize it. And this is the path going forward. We got this divot here. And not necessarily going backwards every time you have a disagreement, but just a pause, right? We're going to pause right here until we figure out what forward looks like. So one of the questions asks about, like, do you think people should settle for someone when it comes to marriage, meaning accepting the good and the bad? It's gonna be bad. You're gonna get some bad. So if you're waiting for somebody to be perfect for you, then you're gonna be by yourself, and then you ain't perfect for yourself all the time, right? So sometimes you are your own worst enemy. It is mentally, physically, all those things. The goal is to find the person that is pushing you to be a better you, and you're pushing them to be a better them, and they recognize they have faults, and they recognize they have uh, issues. That hey, and you know how to communicate with that person, and there has to be two-way communication and two-way what comprehension.
Um, so you have some more questions. Talk about the questions that you have, because I feel like there was something about something else.
Tosin says, what does happily married mean? How does the gender of your kids impact how you engage in marriage? For example, I never pump gas, but if I had a girl, I think I would pump gas. Be less of a damsel in distress. The importance of sharing a life with someone you actually like. Oh man, that's huge. Not sugarcoating what marriage really is, being realistic about expectations when getting married, getting out of the mindset this is a cookie cutter marriage. Every marriage is different. Oh, absolutely. Let's talk about happily. Uh, I guess when you talk about marriage itself, um, I guess happily married. People say I'm happily married. I think that is one of those easy to say, hard to do things. I'm happily married. Um, it's it, There are people that are happily married, but there's no one perfectly married. No one. There's no one perfectly married. And so people mistake happily for perfect. So the first time we have a disagreement, then it's, I thought they were so happy. I thought they were so this. And that's society. That's friends, family, that's people you diverge a lot of information to that you probably shouldn't. And that's where that happens. And Cassandra says someone you actually like, right? When you're talking about spending a lifetime with someone, I can easily say these past 6+ years, we have spent an incredible amount of time together. I'm talking about incredible. I'm talking about like, man, if I could probably do the breakdown of time with versus time away or time unoccupied by your presence, it would definitely be well over 94% of the time we're together. And you have to like a person. Like it can't be just one reason you like them either, right? And you have to continue to learn and get to know that person. So over the course of 6 years and the next 6 minutes, the last 60 minutes, I've learned something about you. You learned something about me. And because why it's so important is people change, people grow, people not only do people grow, but people uh, regress, right? It's certain things that people have done well over a period of time that they they falter at, right? And if you're not there with that person, you don't recognize those falters, right? That's where continuous communication and comprehension come in. Yeah, we got it's a lot of great, I guess, posts and stuff here. Uh, Man, kids. Go ahead. You want to say something? I think kids do play a huge role, especially based on your upbringing, right? There are some men that will, you know, stay in a marriage or get married based on children, based on them having stability, based on them doing certain things, or hey, firstborn and stuff like that. That doesn't mean you're happily married. That means you're married because you have kids together. And then the same way with women. Some women will say, hey, we're married. Hey, we're married based on the fact that I got these kids. I got to stay with you. It's based off of sometimes a need or stability or this lack of starting over from that standpoint. So kids play a huge role. If it's the gender of the kids or how the kids were conceived and all that plays a role into getting married, staying married, or getting a divorce. So all that's very individually driven. You know, people people say that, okay, especially if two people split, there's a divorce, right? Normally, what people see in our community is the kids go with the mom, right? That's normal. Keep the dad free. He single, ready to mingle again. Um, and that's just something we see. If the mother doesn't have the child, if the mother doesn't have the child for any amount of time period, anything like that, she's the worst person in the world. Dad don't have the child, you good to go. Start you another family. Go ahead.
If you, as a dad, allow your ex-wife to see after your new baby mama, not wife or child, how do you feel about that? Like, hold on, wait, we got a question. Let's see. Demetria Gilmore says, after a stern conversation one day, my husband once told me that I was raised to survive, and he was raised off love. I still don't know what he means by that. That's you. That's that it stuff. Tell me all about it. I'm gonna let you go
Well, finish your kids thing first, and finish your kid thing. You gave me a
So I
scenario.
mean, so you know that I have children by a man who has children by other people, and in a relationship with a man who has children. It's difficult. It's a very sketchy scenario. So my ex husband has a child. My baby daddy has a child, and we are all good friends. Like we don't have any problem with each other. My ex husband child is here. My baby daddy's mom picks up my child. Like we are best friends. We don't have any problems. It's cohesiveness because we know that we moved on. They know that I am Jamie Jenkins Inc. So, like in the situation where it comes to the male perspective of that, when you have children, how do you deal with the person who is overseeing your children? Like, what do you say? How do you discuss? Hey, I got kids by this person, but I want to be in connection with the person who is overseeing my children. What does that feel like for a man? Because for me, I don't have any connections with my baby daddies that makes me feel like I have any animosity with these people. So therefore, we connect. We don't care. We don't have any like strife with one another. We like, girl, I'm gonna pick your child up. You're gonna pick my child up. We're gonna do this. How does the male perspective feel about that?
It, that really depends on how the separation happened, or you don't like the answer. You don't like what I'm saying.
I just was looking. See, that's
Go
what I'm
back.
putting myself on the
Yeah,
screen.
we're gonna go
About
back
it.
to
I'm
class.
putting
We're gonna go
myself.
back to
Talk
class.
about it. Talk about it, baby. Tell the people how you feel about it.
I think it all depends on how the separation happened, right? And if that person, if your ex means you nothing positive, then you will be a lot less prone to be uh, surrounded by that person. If they got kids or not, regardless of who that person moves on with, then your avenue can be strictly for the kids, right? I don't need to speak to uh, an adult woman for an 18-year-old or 15, 16-year-old child. Now, if you have younger children, things of that nature, but teenagers, they are more than willing, if they are willing, but they are definitely capable of having any conversation with the parent that they need to have. If not, then that's something that needs to be worked on, right? From both standpoints, the parent can't be the only person that is, uh, reaching out, communicating. There's a two-way street, regardless. The child has to be open, honest. Hey, this is what I need. You know what I'm saying? For mother or for father. In your case, I think it shows a great deal of closure, and it shows a great deal of maturity as far as how everything ended, or say, "Hey, we have moved past this point in our lives, and you no longer pose any threat mentally or physically or anything like that." So all that plays a part. I can't cookie cut what should happen in, of course, everybody's relationship. Some men, when they move on, they totally move on. Some men or women, they never really move on because we have a child together. They will continuously figure out ways to manipulate situations or to put you in a bad position because it's all they know. Men and women do that both. Come on back on this line. or not. Uh, being realistic, what marriage is, uh, like I said, I don't think it's anything negative. It's a positive act. It is a act that is, tradition and ceremony, and it is a way of showing a person that you love a person. And, but it is not it is not that is it is not the culmination of life. During the middle of a stern conversation, my husband told me that I was raised to survive. He was raised off love. Okay, so men have a strong desire to be needed and a strong desire uh, to be loved in a certain way.
Before you continue that, I hate to interrupt you because you know I do that and I apologize because I know you hate it. I'm sorry. You know I love you. Were you raised off of survival or were you raised off of love before you answer the question?
I was survival. I too was raised survive. I too. So I definitely understand. I definitely understand. Like your spirit is much more of a loving spirit for me. As far as your attentiveness is concerned, the, surviving comes from your being a dad's girl. I think that you were taught every single possibly thing that any male in America was taught. You have same skills, but inherently, there was a lot of quality time that you and your dad spent together, and I think that is something that I guess made your love language more, I don't know, I guess passionate or evident to me. That's what I feel. That's what I get from you.
I just want to pause you in that moment because I think that we get so lost in the fact of what we receive versus what we give. Did my dad spend 100% of time with me, 90% of time me, 80% of time me, showing me quality things, 75, 65 at best. But the time that he spent, I was able to cultivate that into what I needed it to be to move forward. And that's what we don't get in this next generation. They don't take the 20%. Like they don't take if we give 10% today, they don't understand how much that is put into what we are trying to give forth. But we took the 5% that we were given as a kids to make sure that we mold and put that into our kids. They don't know what we do every day. And I try to put that forth and I try to push that forth to my children. No, my dad didn't spend 100% of his time with me, but the 10, the 20, the 30 that he did spend, I appreciated that. I accepted that and I honored that to this day because he didn't have to do that. And they don't have that. Like people don't owe you anything, whether they're your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, they don't owe you anything. And that's what I think the generation behind us don't understand. We don't owe them anything, but the time that we give to them, they don't value either. So that's just my perspective on it.
I guess going to what Demetri is saying, um, when you're raised to survive, survival is your ultimate goal, to make things happen. To if that means a if that means making any decision, it's almost business-like. It's almost you're willing to do whatever needs to be done in order for Uh,
I don't know what your question is, Demetria, but pose it to me. I'll answer it for you.
well, I was trying to answer you.
Go ahead, babe. Do your thing.
No, I think that when you have I think that when you have a survival mentality, that a lot of the love languages aren't priority because you are truly rooted on survival, and it comes off as brash. It comes off as unattached. It comes off as not always not always emotionally there. It doesn't mean that you're not, but survival is at the forefront. You know what I mean? Like what needs to happen versus saying, let's talk about and let's compromise these situations. That is less of a option. The option is what needs to happen, not necessarily the compromising and the understanding. That's background. Like we'll get to that. What needs to happen right now? So I understand. Like I may not verbalize it well, but I definitely understand the two flights. My dad, militant, work. He does have great advice. He does have. He's very humble and has humility and things of that nature. But I get from him work. My mom is not a lovey-dovey. Uh, oh, let me get your kids. What happened to you? Like I didn't get any of that, you know, or very little. When I say I didn't get any, does not mean my mom didn't hug me all through high school. But it was very sporadic. That's not how she showed love. So uh, I picked up on both of those traits, and survival has been, like my ultimate goal. And like I said, for me, with you, I'm learning to love. I'm learning that language has to be priority uh, from time to time.
Another comment. He main problem is my he main problem with my marriage. Come again, Demetria, because I didn't understand that comment. Um, do you want marriage and he doesn't want marriage? Do you want marriage and he doesn't want marriage? Like, help us understand what the main problem is, because it's just like it's like dang, I had a perfect example earlier of what this marriage thing was like, but I can't come to it right now. But it's almost like just trying to link a chain that can't be linked. If you have a chain that has a link in it and you're working with it with pliers, daddy's girl, and you're trying to get those two things to be linked, they're able to link. If you can't, then they're not. Like, and that doesn't mean that you're not meant to be. That just means you need to work harder. And sometimes working is not what we want to do. So you have to figure out what your sacrifices are, what you want to see, what you want to feel, what you need to feel in order to be connected with someone. And I think that when we really cultivate and when we really accept, when we really sacrifice the things that we want to sacrifice, if the person that we see on the other side is somebody that we really want to be with, that's when you know that you're intertwined. That's when you know you're connected. And that doesn't always have an end goal. Sometimes that's like we said earlier, living day to day. And if living day to day is what matters most to you, then be you, be who you are. Like, accept what fate you have for you and accept your purpose, because that's what I've done. And I'm okay with that. So, do you? I'm not trying to make you be anybody more than who you are. as far as what we are trying to do, I did have one last question for you, babe. What in life do you feel you need to improve on most?
Um, it's intrinsic because extrinsically, there is nothing more I can ask you to tell or do. Like from your standpoint, humanly possible. You have words of affirmation. Your love language to me is very strong and apparent. For me, it is you know all the doubt that I've been through throughout my life is trauma that causes me to uh, not be as direct and not be as focused as I need to be. And people don't think that being bullied through school or being told what you were or weren't, like all that affects you. Is going to affect you. Now, it doesn't affect me outwardly all the time, but it does make you spin your wheels from time to time. So intrinsically, I have to get to a place to know that I belong in these rooms. I belong. I indeed should be at the forefront of whatever discussion as far as what we're building here, as far as being transparent in communication. Uh, Someone having 7 doctorate degrees uh, shouldn't be, doesn't necessarily push me out of the way. I own my own lane, and being passionate about it, and being what you always tell me, always be not just passionate, but I don't know, like be personal about things when we're on this journey of transparency and communication. Be present.
So from my perspective, from what's going on my side of the journey of things, what is it that you think could make you more present or more transparent?
Like I said, that's something that I need to continue to work on. I don't. I think that everything you do, you are strategic. You're very strategic with our texts, our conversations, our FaceTimes, what you're saying, when you're saying, what kind of day I'm having, things of that nature. I think, as you continue to build me up, as you continue to build, broken walls and cracks and stuff like that, I have to take it and finish the house. I have to take it and say, hey, uh, I, all the things in the background are are coming to fruition. So now I should be leading other charges. I should be pulling you along on certain journeys. And I think that we're right there. Like we're literally right where we need to be. And sometimes it feels like it. We look back on every week and we say what we should have done, what we could have done. And I think we could do that every week. I think we could always beat ourselves up on what we didn't do. This week we had to go live every night, right? Uh, both of us have full-time jobs, both of us got kids, both of us got responsibilities, but we're making that sacrifice. You're not gonna make anything right. You're not gonna really see the totality of your mission unless you're willing to make sacrifices. So next week, we do it again. Next week, we do it again. Like if you're not willing to make those sacrifices, then your outcome is going to reflect the sacrifices you did make as well.
Before this moment, have you seen me today? Have you personally seen me today?
Nope.
Demetrius says he always says, I don't listen to him. But if it's not talking about nothing in the first 10 seconds, I'm straight to the mouth. So, Dimitri, you have to define what's important to you. And if his day, and if the things that he do, and if the things that is important to him is not important to you, then you got to figure that out. You've got to know what's important to you, and you've got to define those things, because there's nothing in Jamie Jenkins' day that is not important to me. From the time he wakes up, I'm gonna be honest with you. He did not message me today until he was leaving out of his job. I was upset because I'm like,
Wait,
what was he
wait a minute.
doing from the time that he woke up to the time that he messaged me? Like, I'm
I
like,
did. I didn't send you a video this morning.
did you send me a video before you walked out of your hotel room?
No, I was outside. I mean, I was outside of my hotel room.
So those things are important to me. I can't define what's important to you, but I sent you a message at 6 o'clock. It was almost 7:30 before you sent me a message, and those things were important to me prior to you getting to bed.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I disappointed
It's
you.
not an apology that needs to be had.
It
It's just
is.
a, it's just
You're
a
upset about
necessity that I need those things. Like I need to know that these previous moments are important to me, and you don't have to know those things, but know now that, like, what the hell was he doing from this time that I had messaged him when he was active until the time that he walked out of his hotel room? Those are important to me. That doesn't mean that he has to message me those things. That just means that it's important to me. So if those things that he's telling you in between the times is not important to you, then reevaluate your relationship, reevaluate how you feel about him, reevaluate the things that make you feel most important to him and the things that are important to you. So, like, relationships are really built on all of the small things, not the major things. But from the time he wakes up to the time that he gets to where he's going, are those things important to you, Demetria? Figure that out. And that will help you along the way. We have had a wonderful time. We are at almost 1 hour and 30 minutes. Let's see. We had some questions from the viewers. One other question before we get to hour and 30 minutes is fetishes. Do you have any fetishes?
I don't.
Empty nesting, is the love still there?
I think it should be. I think that's a. I think you're getting into a different. You're different people at that age. No matter what the age is, if it's 25, you're emptiness, and 30, 35, 45, 55. You're growing into a different part of your life. And normally new habits or new hobbies and stuff like that arise. Just as long as you're on the same page and communicating, I think we're ready for emptiness. I think we don't have a, I don't think we have a problem.
Trust him to go and see. I think. I think that's the part that is difficult for men and women. What does that mean, Demetria? You think that you trust him to go and see and think. Like, men don't know what that means. So you got to be very clear. You got to be very direct. And sometimes even being very clear and direct doesn't always equate to you actually being as open as you feel you need to be. So, like, tell him, like, what does that mean to him, and how does that equate your feelings and emotions? So try it, try to be 100% about what you feel, what you think, what you see. Like, hey, listen, I feel like you're good, like, but that doesn't mean, because I feel like that's good, that doesn't mean I'm not going to ask you questions. Like, sometimes, if you say things that doesn't always equate well with me, I'm gonna say, hey, what about this? What about that? That doesn't mean I don't trust you. It just means that I'm trying to figure out 100% what you feel, what you see, what you think. And sometimes that doesn't come across as what it has to be. It says, you asked me how I feel about going out. How do you feel about going out? What are your thoughts and feelings and emotions on going out? Like, I don't care about going out. I know that I know who I am. So I know that if he doesn't ask me certain questions and feel a certain way about how I'm going out, then he doesn't care about me. That's how I feel. Like, I'm gonna ask all the questions. I'm gonna be like, all right, who was there? What was going on? What happened? What did you see? Who did you see? But he's not gonna be like this. So if he don't be like I am, I'm gonna have a problem with it. And then it's gonna equate a whole different situation. So the last question, what did I ask you last? What do you think that you spend the most money on?
Stock market.
And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to end it on that note tonight because I have no time, no energy, no desire to talk about the stock market. The stock market is the stock market. If you feel compelled to put your money into the stock market, then you go ahead. I support him 100%. I feel he is very adequate about what he is doing. I love the shucks out of him, and if he feels that he trusts a stock, I'm trusting him in that stock. So y'all know what y'all do. But me, I need all the details on the stock. I need to know where, we, and how. What? Who invested in what? What you talking? What you talking about? Said, no, Kevin first said, what? What you talking about? What? Who? Elon Musk? Did he say he was investing in it? If he ain't investing in it, I ain't investing in it. So like, be open, be honest, to be compassionate, because I do think that I allow him freedom to do what he needs to do financially. Be financially stable. What we didn't talk about mostly is marriage and how that unit works together. If he wants to invest in something, because I was like, oh, somebody said, how y'all talk about marriage but don't talk about one bank account? You don't have to be married and have one bank account. You can have many bank accounts. The purpose of financial stability is having many bank accounts, having bank accounts all over the place. So if you have one, at least one, and we do have one financial stability that is united, then you're okay, because you know that you guys are working toward the best interest of one another. And that's what we're doing. So we thank you. We love you for tuning in, all 20, 60, 80, 1,000 of y'all. Because we're going to get there. And know that we'll be coming back to y'all. This is our last installment for 4. Before we leave out, we are going to post the second half of Our Boys. I'm scared because it's kind of crazy. But Jamie, before we post the second half of Our Boys, do you have anything to say?
Nothing. I learned a lot tonight. I love you. I appreciate. I understand, the opportunities I have to improve. Very clear. Other than that, that's it, man. I've had a blast. Hope we've answered some questions. Hope we've uh, been everything that we are seeking to be: transparent and improve communication.
Awesome. So first half of the show, you got boy number 2. This is boy number 1 giving us his rendition of how he feels about the. But y'all gotta judge. Y'all gotta tell us if boy number 1 or boy number 2 won, because we're going to give them prizes based on y'all judgment. So here is boy number 2. Good night. We love y'all. Peace. Tune in the later parts of May. We're gonna come back to y'all each and every month. If you want consistent information from us, please subscribe to our Patreon. We will post that in the comments, and that's where you get the very intimate, very detailed information about us. And the money that you use to subscribe to Patreon, we're going to be using toward giveaways, scholarships, and things to make sure that we are putting back into the community. So Tune in and check out boy number one, boy number two, Patreon exhibit of his commercial that we asked him to do. See y'all next time.
Hello guys, my name is Jeffrey Hobbs. I'm the owner of J Fern, and I'm just letting you guys know right now. Y'all should go get your copy of the Hello Black Teen Journal from HelloBlackMan.com right now. This journal, it just changed my life. Like, I got my journal and I just been writing everything about what's going on in my life, how my life has changed, and how my life going and stuff. I could just learn more about how my life is and like how I've been facing challenges every day. And y'all should go do it too. HelloBlackMan.com. Get your journals.
Hey guys, I want to talk to you about this Hello Black Man journal. It's really probably one of the best investments I've ever had in my entire life. It's like every day you can write in it. There's multiple questions that you can answer from it, and there's just something special about it that just makes it so good. And I want you guys to buy it too, so you have a better relationship with your kids, and you can release some stress. You had a bad day at work, coming home from school, just writing a book. That's all you gotta do. And you can get it from HelloBlackMan.com. And that's not all that it sells. It sells this is a Hello Black Child, Hello Black Teen, and then Hello Black Man, Hello Black Woman. We have shirts, bracelets, pins, and etc. So go get you a book right now.